When I was a little kid, my taste in food was what you'd call simple. My idea of a school lunch was a cream cheese and lettuce sandwich on wheat bread, smushed into a plastic bag and crammed into the bottom of my backpack. When I was about 7, my favorite uncle, Uncle Dennis, told my family he wanted to take us someplace really special for my birthday. And this was exciting because Uncle Dennis was the opposite. Uncle Dennis had what my parents called a refined palate. He liked Alpine cheeses and French wines, and he was the only man I'd ever met who wore a scarf just for fashion. So I knew this was going to be great wherever he took me. And what he said the name of the restaurant was Benihana's. And if you don't know Benihana's, it's a hibachi chain where they cook the food at the table in front of you. And as we're walking in, he explains that every chef in the restaurant has been trained in the ancient art of teppanyaki for a minimum of 5 weeks. And as we walk in, there oohs and ahs because the chefs are juggling knives and twirling salt shakers. And as we sit down, he explains to me what umami flavor is. And the first taste changes my life. And this was just a green salad with ginger dressing. But I had never had ginger dressing like this, and my eyes bug out of my head. By the time the chef is flipping shrimp tails all the way from the hibachi grill through the air into his hat, I'm hooked. And as the meal ends, the chef gathers us all together and he takes a photograph and he gives it to me, my eyes wide with excitement in this perfect little cardboard Benihana's frame. So the next year, when my parents ask what I want to do for my birthday, what do you think I say? I'm going to Benihana's. And we go back every year, and every year I get another photograph. And I'm 8, and I'm going through a chubby, awkward phase, and I'm 9, and I'm 10, and I'm clutching my Dungeons and Dragons player's manual, and I'm 11, and I'm 12. And my uncle walks in that year to my birthday dinner with this determination, and he says, Scotkins, he used to call me Scotkins, if you're ever going to be a gentleman of the world, you have to try sushi. I'm 12. I know what sushi is. That's raw fish. I'm not putting that in my mouth. Not at just any restaurant. But this isn't just any restaurant. This is Benihana's. And as I take my first bite of what I now know to be cheap imitation crab meat, it's amazing. Midway through dinner, the chef is building a volcano out of slices of raw onion that really steams when you put the water inside on the hot grill. And I overhear my uncle talking with the same intensity to my dad, saying, since he hadn't had any kids of his own, he was going to change his will and leave whatever he had to my family. And I wondered for the first time why Uncle Dennis had never had children, because he would have been a great dad. And at the end of the meal, the chef gathers us together and he takes a picture. And this time my eyes are streaming because I've just had my first bite of wasabi, but I love it. The pictures grow every year. Flash, it's my first girlfriend in Flash. There's the best friend that will have a falling out, 5 years later. And I'm 13 and I'm 14. And when I'm 15, I get a call from my uncle. He's sick. It's cancer, and he's known for a couple of years, but now it's spreading quick. And over the next couple of months, I see him change from, a scarf-wearing connoisseur of earthly delights to this stick figure with sunken eyes and new, quieter voice. And he calls me a couple of weeks before my birthday, and he says, Scotkins, would you mind terribly if we didn't go to Benihana's this year? I'd like to cook for you. And I know that's because he can't walk that well anymore. And so I say yes, of course. And he tries so hard. He prepares all the food in plastic Tupperware, so all he's got to do is reheat it. And he puts a big smile on when he greets me. But when he doesn't know I'm looking, I catch him kind of deflate into a corner and gather himself and take a deep, gasping breath and pull himself together and fix that smile back on his face so that he can walk back out and so that I can have a nice birthday. At his funeral, there are a lot of people, it's packed. And there are a lot of people I don't know. And I can't figure out why. And a couple weeks later, I find out a distant cousin tells me he thinks Uncle Dennis was gay. And that makes so much sense. And at the same time, it's so confusing because I can't figure out why this person I loved so much was scared that I'd love him less if I knew more about who he was. I went to Benihana's again, but I went less for a couple of reasons. One, there was a big empty space in all those photographs where my uncle should have been. And for another, I was trying new things on my own now, trying to be a gentleman of the world for him. And eventually I ran out of things to try on the Benihana's menu. But even if Benihana's lost a little bit of that childhood magic, I have these photographs, these snapshots of my life every year growing up, every one of them with my uncle smiling next to me, encouraging me to be a gentleman of the world and try something new. Every one of them taken by a chef who'd been trained for a minimum of 5 weeks in the ancient art of teppanyaki. And I'll have those for the rest of my life. Thank you.